Hello, welcome to PCMag Live. I'm Dan Costa, he is Sascha Segan, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to break down the top tech news of the day, answer one of your reader questions, and show you one very cool thing from the lab. Let's talk about the big story of the day. E3 kicks off today in Los Angeles. PCMag has got staff there. There's going to be press announces all day long. Last year was all about the new consoles. This year it's all about the games that are going to be played on those consoles. Kind of a more important thing.
Yeah, although I think one of the really big games that everyone is waiting for, which is Halo 5 for the Xbox One, apparently isn't coming out until November 2015,
yeah.
Right?
They've released previews, they've confirmed the sort of time frame, if not the exact date, and there'll probably be more video teasers that are shown at E3. But Xbox needs this game to drive sales, and I don't know, 2 years from now, 2 years after the console launches, just seems like a really long time to wait for such an important franchise.
I mean, as you've told me, these console cycles are long. These console cycles are 5 to 7 years. So even now, you know, that we're entering the second year of these consoles, millions of these consoles have been sold, but we're only starting to see the games ramping up. What's the schedule going to be for us to hear about these big announcements over the next day?
There's going to be a lot made at E3 to sort of fill out that pipeline. And the thing is, Sony's actually leapt out to a big lead here. They are outselling Nintendo for the first time in 8 years. And that's outselling Nintendo when Nintendo gets to count the 3DS, which is still selling very well, but counts as a console for them.
Yeah, because like, who's buying a Wii U?
Sony sold 18.7 million game machines in the last fiscal year. Nintendo's 16.3 million. So and 12.4 million of those were 3DSs. So Sony is really doing very, very well.
If you bought a Wii U, justify yourself in the comments, please.
That's right. You can go to PCMag. We're going to be covering all of the E3 announcements live on the site. Go to PCMag/E3. You'll find out all about it. Will and Jeff are out there. Let's move on to this other story, which I found very, very interesting. The world's most delayed software has finally been released after 54 years in development. That's right, Xanadu is available now. It was started in 1960, and it has reached version 1 in 2014.
Now, this is amazing because, I mean, not only has it taken 54 years to develop, but this software could have been the foundation of the World Wide Web if it hadn't remained vaporware the entire time. The creator, Ted Nelson, coined the word hypertext, and Xanadu is a hypertext system. But unlike HTTP, it embeds chunks of documents within each other rather than linking to them on separate servers. So now he's discussing it as a hypertext PDF alternative, so that you can encapsulate and send hypertext documents from place to place. There's a website out there chronicling like the failed development of this from 1979 through 1999. It's just amazing how many people have tried to develop Xanadu, apparently, and just, you know, never gotten there.
Yeah, this is the opposite of failing fast. This is succeeding very, very slowly. And, but an interesting software, an important software, and really its impact is beyond its actual shipping customers. I mean, everybody knows about it, and it's had a big impact on the way we compute.
Yeah, it's like one of those Xerox PARC projects, you know, that really affected the industry without ever actually necessarily being sold to consumers. Go check it out, Xanadu.com.
And finally, another landmark: the Royal Society in London is reporting that the first time ever a Turing test has been passed by a computer. Specifically, an artificial intelligence program called Eugene Goostman has convinced human beings that it is in fact a real-life person.
The bar here is so ridiculously low that this story is complete BS, as I was saying in our entire morning meeting.
It has met the definitions of a Turing test. It's held a conversation for 5 minutes.
Right, it is met an arbitrary, extremely low bar. The low bar being it only convinced a third of the judges for 5 minutes that it was, get this, a 13-year-old boy speaking difficultly in a second language that he didn't quite understand. So, like,
you think there's no accomplishment there whatsoever, that's easy to do?
I think that this sounds like Eliza to me. How is this better than Eliza?
Completely unscripted. You can ask any questions you want. The computer has to respond in some kind of intelligent fashion. It did that for 33% of the judges. Were convinced that this was a real-life human being, and you don't think that's a pretty significant accomplishment?
I think the definition of real-life human being is the question here. If it can convince 33% of the judges that it is a not too bright, young teenager having difficulty expressing himself. Is that really what we're looking for in this Turing test, or is it just kind of changing the rules so something succeeds?
Sascha is very hard to impress. Let's move on to a reader question. We answer reader questions on Twitter, on Facebook, via email. This question came in via email from Michael. He wants to know how to use a smartphone on AT&T's network without a data plan.
Now, the reason he's asking is that AT&T and Verizon will both do an extremely hard sell if you come into their stores and you try to get or bring a smartphone and you want to use it for just talk and text. Essentially, the salespeople will not let you do this. But the good news is there are a lot of third-party virtual carriers that use AT&T's and Verizon's networks, and they have much looser requirements. So the one I really recommend—
Usually lower prices.
And lower prices, yeah. The one I recommend from Michael is called H2o Wireless. It uses AT&T's network. You can have an unlimited talk and text plan with 500 megs of data for $30 a month, and they really do not care if you use the data or not. Pick up a cheap unlocked phone like the $129 Moto E. We have a review on our site, and you'll be cruising along, not using a lot of data, on Wi-Fi whenever you want, on AT&T's excellent nationwide network, and you won't have a problem. H2o Wireless, look it up.
There you have it. Let's move on to our one cool thing. Every year we test thousands of products here in our lab in New York City. Every day we take one thing off the shelf and show it to you live. Today that thing is the Digital Storm Krypton. It is a gaming laptop that weighs a honkin' 9 pounds. It is not super light, but we call this our mid-range gaming laptop. Mid-range for us means it costs $2,300. So it's nothing to sneeze at, but it provides all of the power that you expect from a gaming system. Great performance, NVIDIA's latest graphics packages, and a huge selection of ports. I mean, the styling is not as flashy as some of the gaming laptops out there, but the performance totally backs it up. You got anything? You're going to be using this for the next fastest mobile networks to compute the spreadsheets, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, essentially for that project, I just need tons and tons of processor power, and we definitely have that here. I'm curious to see what's coming out at E3 in terms of PC gaming, and how that's going to run on devices like this.
You can check out our full review on PCMag.com. That's been PCMag Live for today. Tune in tomorrow. We'll bring you a brand new show.